everyone. So in the previous video I have explained about declination. So in this video I am going to explain what are the variations in declination. The value of declination at place never remain constant, but it changes from time to time. So what we can say that the declination value is not constant, it always changes whenever the time get changes. So there are usually four type of variations in declination. First is a diurnal variation, our second one is annual variation, third one is secular variation, and fourth one is irregular variation. So first I am going to discuss about diurnal variation. The diurnal variation or daily variation is a systematic departure of the declination from its mean value during a period of 24 hours. So what is the other name for diurnal variation? It is also known as a daily variation. So diurnal variation is also known as a daily variation. Whenever the declination from the mean value means we are taking here for a period of 24 hours, means for one day, what is the variation? Such type of variation is considered as diurnal variation or daily variation. It generally varies with the phase of the sunspot period. How the diurnal variation varies? It usually varies with respect to the sunspot period, means where is the sun is located. By such period it usually varies. The difference in declination between morning and afternoon is often as much as 10 degrees of an arc. Means at the morning, the sunrise at morning and the sun at the afternoon, these two will be having a difference in declination, having it is 10 degree of the arc. Means if we are drawing the difference between the morning and the afternoon declination, then we will get the arc which is of 10 degrees. So the extent of daily variation depend upon the following factors. So there are four factors on which the diurnal variation depends upon. First is locality, means the location where it is located. The more at the magnetic pole and it is less at the equator, means the diurnal variation will be more in at the magnetic pole and the diurnal variation will be less at the equator. Next, season of the year. Considerably, the diurnal variation will be more in the summer season. In case of summer season, diurnal variation will be more when compared to the winter season. Next, time. It will be more in the daytime and less in the night time. Diurnal variation will be more in daytime and it will be less in the night time. The rate of variation during 24 hours is also variable. Next, the amount of daily variation changes from year to year. What are the daily variation? It also depends upon diurnal variation. So what is meant by diurnal variation? Simply to remember is that for a period of 24 hours or for a one day, what is the sunspot period? So the difference of that such type of declination is also is known as a diurnal variation. Next is annual variation. The variation which is having yearly period is known as annual variation. The name itself indicates that annual means per 1 year, means for every year it is known as an annual variation. The declination having a yearly swing of about 1 minute or 2 minutes in amplitude. In amplitude it will be having 1 minute or 2 minutes. It varies from place to place. This annual variation is also varying from place to place. Next one is a secular variation. So what is secular variation? Due to the magnitude, the secular variation is most important in the work of surveyor. So the secular variation will be depending upon magnitude. What is meant by magnitude? It is depending upon some angle. The secular variation will be depending upon some angle. The secular variation is very important in the surveying. Okay, it appears to be of periodic character and follow a roller coaster pattern. Sine curve pattern. The secular variation is usually following a sine curve pattern. The sine curve pattern is also known as a roller coaster pattern. It swings like a pendulum. Means how the pendulum swings. We have already done the experiment related to the pendulum in our physics laboratory. So how the pendulum will swing, it will make a to and fro motion. In the same way, the secular variation also swings. Okay. For a given place, the compass needle after moving continuously for a period of year in one direction with respect to true north gradually come to a standstill and begin to move in opposite direction. So it is also moving in to and fro motion. So first the pendulum will be moving in one direction, then it is just a true north. Again it will move to the another direction in the opposite direction. The secular change from year to year is not uniform for any given locality. It is different from different variation. So secular variation also there will be some year to year differences, but these year to year differences will not be same for all the places. For different places the secular variation also differs. Its period is approximately 250 years. So what is the period of secular variation? It is approximately 250 years. In Paris, the record ranged from 11 degree east in 1680 to 22 degree west in 1820. Whereas in case of Paris, there are usually some from Paris, from the past record we can say that it is having a range in 1680. The range of secular variation it is 11 degree east, whereas in 1820 the range of secular variation is 22 degrees west. This magnitude of secular variation is very great. It is very important in work of surveyor, and unless otherwise specified, it is a change commonly referred to. So in case of the surveying work, this type of secular variation magnitude is very important to be considered. So this is about the secular variation. Next, our fourth type of variation is irregular variation. The irregular variation is done. The irregular variation is due to what are known as magnetic storm, earthquake and other solar influences. So what is the reason for irregular variation? It is due to magnetic storms, means whenever there is some storms or earthquakes or some solar influences, due to such type of issues we are getting this irregular variation. The irregular variation may occur at any time and cannot be predicted. This irregular variation, we don't know at which time this type of irregular variation will occur. We can't even predict also. The change of this kind amounting to more than dB have been observed. So we cannot predict such type of variation. So in this lecture we have learned about the variations in declination, that is diurnal variation. It is also a daily variation. It is usually for a period of 24 hours. Next is annual variation. The annual variation is usually taken for a yearly period. Next, the secular variation. The secular variation is just just swings like a pendulum doing to and fro motion. It is also gives us the sine curve pattern, and irregular variation cannot be predicted and calculated at any time. That may occur at any time also. So thank you everyone. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and share to friends.